Hey folks, welcome back. Time for Black Friday Bonanza Part 2. This time we're looking at stuff from Traveller. So on the Black Friday day, I got a whole load of emails from different stores carrying RPG stuff and gaming stuff, offering me loads of deals. And one of them was a so-called super mega deal from a wonderful store in the Pembrokeshire part of Wales, the Welsh borders, called the Shop on the Borderlands, appropriately enough, and they had a bundle for the entirety of the Traveller Deepnight Revelation campaign. And by the entirety, I mean the main box set, which has sort of the main components of the campaign, the referee's guide, and all that sort of stuff. And then you had, in the Kickstarter for this, there were 6 volumes of additional adventures. And from what I had read, I really wanted to get into this campaign because it's all about deep space exploration, but in a more gritty Traveller style, a little different from Star Trek. Basically, the complete campaign kind of really needs these additional volumes to really feel like you can do whatever you need to do throughout the long 20-year journey there and back in the main campaign. So when they offer them all together for a very cheap bundle price compared to what I could find anywhere else, I snapped it up, even though it was still expensive. I will say that. But I'm really glad to have this whole campaign because now I've got this, I've got Pirates of Drinax, so I'm hoping to get more players into Traveller and take them down one or maybe even both of these routes. Who knows how things will go. But again, this is just a quick first impressions video, so we'll put the hardbacks to one side for now. And we'll take a look at the box set first. And as you can see, there's a lovely cover here. We've got a gigantic cruiser, Imperial cruiser, heading towards a black hole, which you can tell by the way the gravitational lensing is causing its accretion disk to appear around it like that, which is nice to see that realism. Now on the flip side, so it says, a grand 20-year campaign into deep space commanding the exploration cruiser Deepnight Revelation. So the Deepnight entity, it was alive when the stars were young, it saw the birth of galaxies, and it will see the death of the universe. It is growth and destruction, menace and savior. It retreated into a prison of its own making, and there it awaits. An exploration ship found the clues and was destroyed. A researcher touched its mind and was driven insane. What is it? We must know. So Deepnight Revelation is a former Navy cruiser outfitted for the most stupendous mission in human history, a one-ship expedition along the Great Rift to the edge of the Spiral Arm. Deepnight Revelation will explore the uncharted systems along its path, contact unknown species, and weather unpredictable dangers. At last we will stand before the gates of the entity's prison and demand entry. We will confront the Deepnight entity and seek answers. One ship, many stories. There is a place for any traveler aboard Deepnight Revelation. Scientists and explorers, pilots and engineers, diplomats and rogues. Their mysteries to be unraveled, enemies to battle, in situations that require unconventional talents. The travelers can take on any role they please, from humble research assistants to the mission's commanders. The decisions they make will shape the course of the expedition and perhaps the history of the entire species. Deepnight Revelation, a voyage beyond everything we know. Fantastic. This is exactly the kind of stuff I love in sci-fi games. Wide open, sandboxy, crazy stuff that can happen all along the way. And Mongoose makes wonderful box sets, as you will see. The bundle also came with the Deepnight Revelation special dice. Now, Traveller uses only D6, and there's 20 D6s in here, so this is really all you would ever need for a group. And as you can see, they've got this lovely black and gold. This one's got a little bit of paint missing, that's all right. And instead of a 6, you have a representation of the Deepnight Revelation itself. If I can actually, quite tightly packed in here. Come on, just give me one. Just give me one of these. There we go. Yeah, the 6 is replaced by the outline of the Deepnight Revelation, which is pretty cool. I have a similar set of dice for the Mercenary box set as well from that Kickstarter. This one I missed out on the Kickstarter because I didn't know it existed. I wasn't into Traveller at the time, but now I am. So now to have all the stuff basically that was in the Kickstarter is a really nice thing. And alongside that, you'll see all the box sets from Mongoose. They come with these lovely little ribbons here, so you can pull everything out of the box really easily. And it comes with this, first of all, gigantic poster, which I won't be able to show you the whole of, given my limitations here. And apologies for the reflections, but you can see that it is basically a simplified floor plan for the enormous Deepnight Revelation cruiser. Let's see if we can show you some more of that. So the main section of the ship here, we have, this is where we got crew quarters, common areas, internal systems, fuel tanks, all kinds of stuff, pod hangars, cargo holds, all that sort of good things. And in the center as well, we've got missile and drone storage, probe drones, mining drones, cargo holds, recreational areas, the big fat jump drive back here. Yeah, sorry I can't really show you the whole thing particularly easily because it is gigantic. And on the other side, we have a map of the overall journey which players will take over the 20-year course of the campaign, which is pretty crazy. So, Deepnight Revelation, Journey through the Great Rift. And yeah, you can see they have a general map of the path of the expedition, which, let's see if I can pull back a little bit here. And we have lots of different sectors you'll be passing through, and each of these is covered by some of the additional books, I believe. So you start out at the Great Rift, which is way up in the corner of the map. Let's see if I can show you. Yeah, so you start up here, and you go all the way around and down out to the edge of the spiral arm. So you're right between you're coming out from the edge of the Imperium, I guess, and the Great Rift spans between the Imperium and the Aslan Hyrit and Soleimani Sphere down here at the bottom. So it's really a very, very, very long journey. And on the side here as well, it talks about some additional locations that are detailed in the additional books. So really nice to have that as a reference, not just to the appearance of the ship itself, but to the overall length of the journey. Now if I can just fold this up, that's nice right off the bat. And then we have the actual books themselves. Again, apologies for the reflections. They'll go away once we open these lovely glossy books. We have the Deepnight Legacy, which is basically the introduction adventure to the campaign. We've got the campaign guide. We have the referee's handbook. And we have Terminus Point, which I believe is meant to be the end of the journey. And then the other books, as you will see, will cover various points of interest along the way. And one of the 6 books, the last one, in fact, is just a series of small, not random, but interesting adventures you can have along the journey. So the intro adventure is just 32 pages. Well, a little bit more, I guess, because you've got some characters at the end, pre-gens. And this is a way to get your travelers into the adventure. As usual with Mongoose, we've got lovely layout. Everything's super readable. Nice little sidebars for important extra background information. Some nice character portraits of, well, they're called the survivors, so you can get the sense something probably happened to these people. The infestation from the Deepnight entity. We've got a map of the station on this particular place that you might be heading to. Who knows? No spoilies. Different locations, and the Deepnight Legacy. So this is basically, it says here, it does not have a predetermined script. The adventure revolves around the traveler's attempt to figure out what has happened on Alpha and escape with or without the survivors. So they give you various little sort of tidbits as a referee on how you can present interesting things and problems that the players will have to deal with. And then basically how they survive or don't will determine what happens next. And this provides the connective tissue that leads them to the Deepnight Revelation mission, being recruited for that mission by the Imperium, given their direct contact with the Deepnight entity. And here we have the details of the Rift Hauler transport on which the adventure starts. And this is an older box set, so you'll see we have the isometric style deck plans instead of the two-dimensional ones of the 2022 updates. And then we have the key character stats for the survivors, which you can bring along in the expedition, apparently, to varying degrees of effectiveness. So next we have the campaign guide. So this will be an overview of the campaign itself. There's an introduction, we talk about the travelers and their role in it, overview of the voyage, key referee information, the ship, the crew, various related craft vehicles and equipment, preparations for the expedition, and then setting off, basically. This is a gigantic campaign, is one thing they make sure to set out here. It's a 10-year voyage out, and if you survive, a 10-year voyage back. So this is a big commitment, and they give you some different ways to approach the campaign. So your players could be top-level command staff. They could be, on the bridge, or they could be senior personnel, commanding different parts of the ship. They could be officers that are important, but not, making command decisions. It could be junior personnel or wildcards who just don't really fit into the command structure, but have useful skills. And there's some notes here about pre-campaign decisions you may need to make, like you want to make sure that the traveler's always making meaningful decisions. You want to work out whether you need to pay attention to supply mechanics, crew fatigue, and other rules. So it mentions that the players can manage these things themselves, which is complex, but then they have some control. If they leave those things to you, the referee, then they have to live with the consequences if the command staff don't make the best possible decisions, which they probably won't, because you want to make things interesting. And they, of course, mention travelermap.com as a resource. However, noting that in these far distant regions of the galaxy, you'll sometimes find sort of fan canon, which is not necessarily official, but might still be useful. So there's an overview of the voyage, the route, and then we have, the Rift Edge transit, the first journey across the Great Rift, and a transit along the mouth of the Great Rift, and the final transit for a spinward rimward direction for around 150 parsecs. Then you explore the Void Shore region, and then you will expect to explore that point and terminus point for around 18 to 24 months. It's expected the earliest Deepnight Revelation will begin the return leg will be around 10 to 11 years after mission start. It's quite possible she will remain in the Void Shore region for several more years. The earliest expected return is 20 years after departure, with a projected arrival back at base some 24 to 28 years after departure. Whew, that's a long way. Now here we have a nicer, smaller view of the overall journey. So you set off from the Great Rift, start out at Demnan, and then there's some key points along here. A long transit, 384 parsecs, 48 months, to get to FSNX, and then VSX. And there are particular reasons why you're going to those places, but those are in the intro adventure, so I won't spoil all that. And there are also other expeditions that have attempted this mission. The Solomani did it, the Ancients did it, and you'll find perhaps evidence of that along the way, who knows. Then there are referee information, which I won't go into, but you can see there's some scary stuff happening, potentially. There are some shamblers, don't know what those are. You can be infected and controlled by some kind of force. And then we have details on the Deepnight Revelation itself. So, a long-range exploration cruiser owned and operated by the Deepnight Corporation, currently undergoing final preparations for an extremely long-duration mission. So it's durable, survivable, has a high jump capability with scientific research capability and a lot of small craft. So that's for things like resupply and refueling and lots of redundancy, of course, because they need to be independent for a very long time. It describes the different major features of the different sections of the ship, drives and power systems, the armament, defensive systems, small craft and cargo, specialist systems for this particular mission, deep space maneuvering system, science suites, and then we have the actual stats as well. So it's got 2,642 in weapons. Okay, power requirements, 15,000 for basic ship systems. Total cost is 55 billion credits? Yeah, that's a lot. Look at all the stuff. There's more stuff. Tech level 15. So this is the really high advanced technology. This is the latest tech, basically. Very rarely you'll get tech level 16 in some parts of the Imperium, but tech level 15 is pretty much the general maximum. Then we have lovely isometric diagrams of each of the decks. So forward sections, aft and spinal section mounts, or spinal mount sections. The deep space maneuvering system in the aft section. Then we've got different types of pods. So there's hangar pods. There are different types of pods. So we've got forward pods, scientific pods, mission pods. Each of these having different features, of course. Then we've got the crew. So here we talk about the divisions between the crew, the ranks and chain of command, the organizational structure. We've got a lot of people on this ship. Personnel requirements. So, just for maintenance, you've got 30 maintenance hands, 30 technical hands, 75 engineering hands, 30 system technicians. We're talking about a very large number of people. Then the travelers, how do they fit in? Well, there are various different ways for that. And then it says there's no need to write up one of every of the nearly 500 crew in detail. And they give you a shortcut to doing that, depending on their section and what they need to do. Then there are factions within the crew. The Imperials, the Deepnight Loyalists, the Researchers, the Glory Hounds, the Disaffected, or even the Mutineers, if people get upset with the way things are going. Then there are a few more detailed characters as well. Then we have vehicles and equipment. We've got Ranger ATVs, Ardent ATVs, Carrier ATVs. Got the Deepnight Scout, so this is a recon vessel, basically sort of reconditioned to scout ahead of the Deepnight Revelation. It can make 2 consecutive jump 2 transits, so it can reach a nearby system and get back without requiring a local food source. So basically it can kind of check things out before the big boy comes in. Got deck plans, of course. Got the Deepnight Pinnace. So it's intended for extended range operations within a star system. So once you've decided the system is safe with the Scout, you might send it in the Pinnace to have a look around. The Deepnight Boat, intended for utility work and doesn't have any probes. So they're more for cargo and personnel transfers. Cool. Oh yeah, quite small as you can see. They got vehicles and heavy equipment. So yeah, we see the ATVs, Scarier ATV, the Ardent and Vendara. So they've got some equipment and weapons, looks like. Well, no weapons, okay. But they do have stealth and sensors and other stuff. Then we got shipboard working dress, planetside working dress, body armor, general purpose vac suits, hostile environment suits, exploration suit. Look at that bad boy. Protection plus 20. Wow. But you need vac suit 3 to wear that thing. It's a lot of skill requirements. Then you got standard sidearms, 5mm tiny body pistol, the Gauss pistol, another smaller Gauss pistol, 635 revolver. We've got hand weapons, which are useful in boarding actions. Long arms, the Deepnight carbine, the shotgun, the Pawnee gun, allegedly capable of bringing down a charging pony or similar large creature head on. Okay. Damage 5D. Wow. Laser weapons. Excellent. We've got laser rifles, laser sidearms. Special weapons. We've got hyperbaric charges. Completely destroy anything within a sealed area and may rupture starship bulkheads or distort seals. Rather extreme device, yes, I should say so. A flamethrower, plasma support weapon, damage 1DD, okay, so highly variable. Nuclear demolition charges, 12 1 kiloton nuclear demolition charges, okay. And then these are the overall weapon stores. So there's loads of hyperbaric charges, Gauss pistols, revolvers, and rather less of the shotguns, flamethrowers, and other stuff. And then we got preparations for the expedition. The expedition narrative, cargo capacity, bulk supplies, and then their objectives along the way, which we'll kind of skip past so as not to spoil too much. Got some NPCs scattered in here, some stopovers for specific reasons, some encounters that can happen, some things you can throw in for exciting bits, some things you can run into and salvage, and the final rendezvous. And then we have some sample systems, the Demnon system and the Garva system, and some general campaign notes. Yeah, and then we have details about the expansion. So Rift Edge Transit is the first expansion book, covers the voyage from Marshalling Point Demnon to an unspecified location in a general region designated NSY-X. Then we have the Near Side of Yonder, which is a region on the fringe of the Great Rift, which travelers hope will contain a suitable crossing point. Then we have the crossing itself, which is the third expansion. Then we have the Far Side of Nowhere, the fourth expansion, which is halfway through the Great Transit from the Rift Crossing to the Void Shore. By this time, the Deepnight Revelation is in poor condition and her crew weary. Then we have Void Shore. So it begins with the transit from the Far Side of Nowhere, but focuses on exploration of the very fringe of the Spiral Arm. And then we have the sixth one, which is the various expeditions as well. So then there's some ideas about staging the campaign, and some library data on spacefaring creatures. Very cool. Okay, then we have the referee's handbook. Again, sorry for the reflections. I'm just going to keep apologizing for that because they will keep happening. I do love this ribbon thing. I've got a lovely picture of the Deepnight Revelation itself on the front there. So here we have key concepts, referee notes, refereeing the campaign, crew management, resource management rules, repairs and maintenance rules, interstellar exploration, planetary exploration, science and research. Yeah, I'm going to skip through a lot of this because I think this will be more for the keeper's eye, not the keeper, the referee's eyes. And I don't want to spoil too much again because this is an epic campaign, and also people in my group may well watch this video. Who knows? So it's setting up missions, creating incidents, crises, opportunities, crew management through the different divisions. Okay, crew efficiency index. That's interesting. Crew morale, detachment efficiency index, extreme measures. Okay, forming teams, weakening the ship's company, tracking casualties. That seems important, which could lead to weakened detachments and overall less efficiency as people are being assigned double shifts and so on. Morale and morale checks, leadership crises, events that can affect morale, traveler esteem, crew fatigue as a whole. Oh, that's a lovely image of a ringed planet with the scout dashing in to take a look. Effects of fatigue, defatiguing, and chronic fatigue syndrome. Oh, interesting. Resource management, so supply unit, specialist materials, rare and exotic substances, regaining supplies, what happens if you start to lose supplies, obtaining resources and where you can find them, how to gather them, and how to find special resources. And repairs and maintenance rules, so maintenance issues that can happen, defects, hull damage, all kinds of stuff. Offsetting problems, assigning defects, breakdowns, and failures, which can occur to all kinds of systems, as you can see. Then we have erosion of the capabilities of the ship over time, a full overhaul of the ship, which could be done making repairs, resolving repairs, and a reminder that even maintenance, supply, and fatigue can create opportunity for adventures. You know, you have to kind of raise morale, find something to do, get people excited, get people motivated to fix the ship before it falls apart. So then we have, what is this? General operations. Okay, duty watches and shifts, internal security, personnel access, post-jump primary, security sweeps, in-system operations, including plotting courses and transits between different planets, rough hours taken, deep space maneuvering. Okay, orbital maneuvering, including gravitational slingshots, gravity-assisted flybys, orbital capture, small craft operations, which I think will be important to scout out unknown systems before you bring your big, massive cruiser in there. Planetary operations, locating resources, interstellar exploration, so doing surveys, looking for presence and absence of stars, planets, etc. Distant sensor operations, positional checks, doing system surveys, locating deep space objects, scanning at short range, exploring planets, doing science and other types of research, including different types of project examples. Complex projects, you can do things like deciphering alien artifacts, diagnosing alien diseases, that's pretty cool. Worlds and ecosystems. So the general types of worlds: moons, protoplanets, rock balls, ice balls, hot rock balls, volcanic worlds, water worlds, desert worlds, trace worlds, borderline habitable worlds, paradise worlds, nice, biological hell world, okay, corrosive hell world, icebound world, super earths, gas dwarfs, binary planets, captured bodies, exotic worlds, gas giants, and then alien contact procedures, with some final guidance for the referees. Mention that you're taking on a truly epic task. I want to give the travelers a journey worthy of the name. Okay. And finally, we have Terminus Point. Again, I'm just going to flip through this. So this is basically the end of the campaign. So we'll just quickly look through, see what kind of stuff may be lying ahead. So here we learn more about this Deep Night entity, its powers, how hostile it is, referee information about the system, the people that live there. Well, it looks rather nice, actually. The final crossing, it seems important. Terminus Point itself, we have I guess that's the pinnace, or maybe the ship's boat, coming in for a landing. We have some nasty-looking, shambling creatures, and fragments of wrecks, which you can explore. Again, lovely. I know people prefer the 2D diagrams for stuff, but I do like the three-dimensionality of these. There is something quite nice about that. But given that Traveller, sometimes people like to use miniatures and stuff, it makes sense that they don't like these kinds of things. The Leviathan. Okay, don't know what that is. Into the Event Horizon. Okay, that seems like a terrible idea. But, Exploring Terminus. Meta Paranoia. Okay. Terminus storyline and outline. The surface of the world. I love these world maps that you get in the various books on the charted space setting. They really make you feel like, some real love and detail's been put into everything. And then we have some interactions with locals, some NPCs, and some stuff probably very important, which I'll skip. There we go. So that's the Deep Night Revelation box set, which is full of fantastic amounts of detail. There's well over 300 pages worth of stuff in here, plus that giant double-sided map and ship diagram, plus the dice. So certainly worth it for the cost that I paid. And again, apologies for the reflections, but we'll just have to live with it until I open the covers. So this is the Rift's Edge Transit. So we're getting, it's an expansion of the beginning of the mission. Deep black end papers there, which seems appropriate. Each of these books is around about 100 pages or slightly more. So there's substantial additional adventure content here. So here's an example of the Rift Edge Transit that you're going to take. But yeah, I'm not going to spend too much time looking at the details here. I think like the rest of the campaign, there are a lot of possible ways this can go. Your travelers could be in any number of possible roles. How they get involved in these adventures and to what degree is highly variable. There's some cool star systems to visit. We've got some worlds to visit with the UWP data and maps here. Wildlife, research, recreation, gathering food. And we've got some local wildlife to deal with. And of course, you can send down your vehicles from the main ship to drive around and explore. Oh, that looks unfortunate. Yeah, and then we have referee notes. Confusing and complex situation made more so by the emotions of the people involved. Okay, that sounds good. The Tomb of Civilization. That doesn't sound great. So this is the Vilakashi region map. Okay, once contained a pair of giant stars. And then we have a black hole, designated Vilakashi Omega. All right, cool. So there's the black hole. And then we have another star over here. Another one over there. I guess a brown dwarf, maybe? Yeah, wow. Some real chaotic stuff happening there. Really interesting systems they've outlined here, which is quite exciting. Details on the various planets. The Droin expedition. Ooh, so there's signs of other travelers from other civilizations heading out this way. What the Droin are doing out here. Some kind of research complex. Biosphere chambers. The Entity making an appearance. Oh, that thing looks disgusting. Point Granger. Wreck of a ship to explore. New species, that's cool, with different forms, like ant colony, kind of insectoid type of thing. Oh, you can make travelers of this race as well, that's cool. And they have an exploration ship set up here, and a colony ship as well. Wow, huge. Very cool, all right. We will jump. Okay, so you need to rescue various people and things, possibly from something, who knows what. Got some NPCs that might come aboard. Details of nearby star systems again. I mean, this really is a pretty significant expansion of the beginning of the campaign. I mean, there's new races, tons of new planets, new systems, and then there's an air war going on, air-to-air combat and ground-side combat. I mean, there's, yeah, it's getting pretty hectic out there. We've got some vehicles as well. Personnel weapons, vehicles in the infantry. We've got aerospace fighters, combat vehicles. And there we go. All right. And then after this, you're heading on to book 2, which is the near side of yonder. So this is, I guess, post-transit. All right. So once again, we're at about 112 pages. And we see, so there's a whole lot of nothing going on here. We got some uncharted gaps, just empty bits. But they are introducing lots of stuff, these different NYS subsectors that should be inserted somewhere in the last prospect sector. We've got some new alien races, including the Tenepal, and they have space vessels as well, and you can be a Tenepal traveler. There you go. They're the Erline. Oof, interesting. Insectoids, and they can be travelers. They are tough crustaceans, but they can do really good remote tool use, apparently. Then we have polities of the region, the sovereigndoms, the Erline worlds, the citadels. Okay. I have no idea what's going on here. Starships. We've got the High Guard for the Tenepal, which is a big sphere, basically. The High Guard for the Erline sovereigndoms. So we've got a sovereigndoms naval vessel, which has medium torpedoes ×3 and pulse lasers. Then High Guard for the citadels. So they have mass driver cannons, mobile units, which I guess are to take out troops in low-G environments, swarms, robot attacks. Then the Erline worlds have general service starships, which look like these. Kind of cool, UFO type things. Combat drone craft as well, so unmanned, that's cool. And combat walkers for planet-based combat. Yeah, they've got light laser cannons and small turrets. Then we got our subsector maps here. And then the details of each. Again, a pretty significant addition to what would be otherwise pretty much empty space. And so we've got details on the different planets to be found, system diagrams of the particularly interesting bits. And the crossing point. Okay, so that must be, yeah, how you can explore the area. Developing relationships with the locals. So, I mean, this is really kind of Like the rest of the campaign, I mean, it's a real sandbox, which is where Traveller shines, but I think as a referee, it is daunting to approach a campaign like this. I mean, there's just so many different ways things can go. You have to make up a lot of things on the fly. They give you the ingredients, the planets, the stars, the people, the boats, and their relationships between them, but, the Travelers could react in any number of ways, and they could do any number of things. They could do nothing, just run away. Who knows? And you have to be prepared for any of that stuff. You might need to storm the citadels, apparently, which could be problematic. Presumably, you'd want to try and place at least some of these things in the direct path of the expedition so that these problems become the whole ship's problem. They have to be, therefore, resolved. Yeah, and there's an aftermath. Then we move on to the crossing. Okay. Ooh. A little something there. So we're just a little bit under 100 pages here. So again, a little bit shorter, but still similar length to the others. So this is the third expansion, the arduous transit across the Great Rift. Dangerous but necessary to avoid a long detour. The Great Rift is always dangerous to cross, as we know from the related Traveller box set. Then we have the projected route, which involves various little jumps between hopefully useful points to refuel. But because the Rift is this big empty nothing between the arms of the galaxy, you really need to be careful about your planning. Now we've got some key characters here for the different factions. We've got the Custodian of the Nukes. That seems disarming to see that. Hope that doesn't come into play too much. We've got the people of P3. Yeah, proton storms. There's some interpersonal stuff going on. Fuel skimming. Walking on the moon. So apparently each refueling point turns out to be much more interesting than the crew would probably like. Ploosh. Okay, so you can land on Ploosh. Looks to be landable on the polar ice caps. But there are some floaty jellyfishy things. Colossal psionic deep water squid with 600 hits. Oh my god. That is not... Yeah, I don't want to see that. That is huge. Okay, monument. Yeah, all the refueling points. Okay. Birthplace of the Leviathan, which is this thing. Okay. Landing on the star. Jeez. Okay. Alright, there's all sorts of craziness going on there. I don't know what's happening. This is getting increasingly weird, which I like very much. We've got angry giants, 2 supergiant stars, and some other bodies. Factionalization. Comets and rogues. Oops, somebody's chasing the scout. That seems bad. And then we got some more refueling-related difficulties, it seems like. Ooh, and a nice planet map on Planet 3. I love that. Salvaging reactors. There's lake cities. Ooh, and some more detailed maps. That's nice. Really big marsh. Exploring the plains. Oh, there's some hominids. Primitive omnivore hominids there. So that's cool. I like that, it really feels like they've added a lot of variety here. There's, intelligent species of various types, like insectoids and whatever. But there's also weird shit. Sea monsters, giant squids, saber-toothed cats. Ape man genius. Okay. The weakest force. Okay, there's kind of nebula struggling in the surf. Okay, yes, a nuke is missing. Yeah, I was worried about that. We saw the Custodian of the Nukes mentioned earlier. Okay, so yeah, refueling. Not as simple as one would always hope for. And then there's some more shipwrecks to investigate. There's a worrying amount of those along this trip. And then voyaging onward. Okay. Which neatly brings us to Far Side of Nowhere, book number 4. Let's see what we got here. We have, how many pages? Yep, just under 100 again. So between, just under 100 to just over 100, basically. Here, this is detailing a region of space the travelers will have to pass through in order to reach Void Shore and finally Terminus Point. All right, so this is the region, the Far Side of Nowhere. So it really is a lot of nothing, looks like. But there are, nevertheless, some polities here. We've got some independent worlds and client states, the Grand Republic, and the Commonwealth. So even way the hell out here, we have some various peoples. We've got brutes, who are humans, low G humans, kind of belter types. We've got significant numbers of droids. Interesting. And we've got some starships and spacecraft. The Federated Commonwealth of Homeworlds with military ranks and everything. Ooh, and a big space station with lots of ships coming in and out. The Grand Republic. This is the other polity we saw on the map. They also have a military, which seems foreboding. It's not boding well. Could be boding better. Typical ambulator. Okay. So an ambulator with a sentient brain case is considered to be a so-font for most purposes and can learn skills or interact with others. Okay, these are the biologicals. Alright. The social organization of the biologicals is more or less incomprehensible to humans. They have weapons called the Bone Spitter, Combat Spike, Thumper, and Venom Sprayer. Okay, and that's a heavy lifter. Wow, they seem really disgusting. Then we have a trade port, which seems to be some kind of mobile city. Is that what it is? Trade port down, custom built city. Then we have the far side of nowhere itself. And the distant ranger vessel en route to trade port. And planetary raiding is commonplace here, apparently. You need to make some deals to progress further and get through these sectors to where you need to go. Those other Imperials, I like that. Then we have... Ooh, there's somebody getting shot. That's not good. Extraction 1. So this is a crawler, some kind, gathering stuff. Yep, we've got a nice deck plan here. So, yeah, that is some kind of crawling, habitable place with import offices, missile launchers, control rooms, cafes, barbers, port centers, plazas, power stations. Yeah, proper little mini city on wheels. Well, on tracks, I guess. Resolving the grit situation. Don't know what that means. Sounds of the Wildwoods. The Biological's home site. Okay. There's logging going on somewhere. Commonwealth entanglements. Negotiating safe passage. Battle squadrons. Okay, seems bad. And then we have some high guard entries here with new weapons. Mass driver cannons. Railgun barbettes. Reaction drive interceptors. So a fighter. Hybrid drive support vessel. Aviation cruiser. Okay, it's pretty beefy. We've got quite a lot of decks on that one. It's long and skinny. The Malin class light transport, which is Raider variant. And the Valiant battle cruiser. That's a biggie. What kind of weapons are we dealing with here? We've got large capital turrets, small capital turrets, torpedoes, railgun barbettes times 120, 60 triple turrets, nuclear dampers times 16. Oh my god. Alright, yeah, that's a big boy. And some allies and opponents at the very end. There we go. Okay, now book 5 is, I think, the last bit of exploration that you can do before you reach Terminus Point and the end of the adventure in the box set. And then the final book is expeditions that you can insert sort of anywhere. So we have some more run-ins with the biologicals, who also have ships, apparently. Bioships. We've got Droin appearing again. Then we have the Void Shore region laid out here. Yeah, and those are the key points that we need to get to. VSX, I think is that Terminus Point, perhaps? So we're going beyond the far side of nowhere. And again, we've got interesting details about various worlds. We've got the Great Bioship. Okay. You can investigate it. You can find it. A chapter called The Place of Death. Okay. Don't want to go there, really. Cradle of the Biologicals. A nice little region map here. And details of the various planets and the Epsilon system. Draitserv is a world well suited to Droin, apparently. So we should expect to see them out here. I wonder if some of these are like, crew remnants that have, they crashed and burned many years ago, and now they've got their own splinter society in the edge of nowhere. Biology experiments, that's always a scary thing to read about. Pages are, all these products, by the way, were brand new. The Shop of Borderlands does sell used stuff as well, which can save you some money, which is great. But this mega bundle was all brand new stuff. Got some ambulators from Biologicals. You know about them. Nuke the site from orbit, question mark? Yeah. Anybody who's seen Aliens will think of that at some point. Ooh, the Solomani expedition. Cool. Pictures of home. A newcomer vessel. Wow, alright. Solomani ships. Ooh, there's lots of potential interesting conflicts and things that could happen, it seems like. A quick flip through this. And then preparing to reach Terminus Point. And then we got spacecraft and vehicles. The Excursion Bay. Okay, so this is an add-on, I suppose, to ship. Tenzing exploration vessel. Is it Tenzing or Tenzig? Come on, guys. Spell checking. I guess it's Tenzig, because it keeps saying that in these pages. 800 hull points. Okay, crew. Quite a few, but it's not a gigantic battle cruiser or anything. Now we have a Droin spacecraft, which is very rounded looking. Not the most exciting design, I have to say. So what are we talking about here? 300 tons, so relatively small. And then we have some ground craft as well. So the Solomani ATV, Outrider Grav platform, that looks fun. We have giant biologicals. So this will be bioship weapons. So they've got spreader variants, corrosive variants, grab tangle, spitter clusters, darts, intermediate weapons. They have javelin, kinetic energy missiles, goblet launchers. Okay, that sounds gross. M-bomb launchers, a ball of specialized matter. Okay. The weapon does not need to hit its target to have an effect. When it gets close, it detonates in a pulse, similar to a maneuver drive running wild. All craft within close range suffer 4D damage and may suffer additional effects. It can be flung out of control. Wow, cool. Then there's some stats for these giant weapons. Bioships in combat, defending against their missiles, and they're dealing with their technological components. Then we have the ambulators. We have some space-going ambulators, heavy combat ambulators, big ones, they're just called big ones, sea-going ambulators, sea monster ambulators, ambulator land ships. For travelers on the ground, fighting a land ship is the same as fighting a starship, pretty much impossible. Wow, they're starship-scale entities. Jeez. Then we have some key droid stats and some Solomani stats, and some major NPCs from the Solomani Security Confederation Navy, and more from the Confederation Navy. And more from the Confederation Navy. And a bit more wildlife. Very cool. So how many pages was this one? I don't recall if we checked that. Yeah, again, just under 100. And finally, we have Volume 6, the Deepnight Revelations Expeditions. So if I recall, collection of additional resources, encounters or points of interest that can be inserted into the exploration of any star system, and short incidents that may expand into longer adventures, along with 3 new spacefaring species. Cool. So again, just a quick flip through of this. So we've got some points of interest, a few encounters, some incidences, and short adventures, and then animal and environmental encounters. And this one is a bit over 100 pages. So we've got points of interest, solo stars, binary systems. We've got distant super Earths, hothouse worlds. Oh yeah, there's some cool stuff going on here. Explosions of life. Gassy planets. We got encounters with a starfaring race called the Hikes. Semi-aquatic. Okay. Most humans find them rather disturbing when first observed, largely due to the way they move. They display complex trilateral symmetry. The mouth is atop the head and lined with sharp teeth. Oh yeah, that's gross. Look at all those hands. Oh my god. You can be a traveler with one of these guys. That's pretty cool. They're clumsy on land, and they are predatory traders. Okay, they get strength +3, endurance +3, intelligence -1, and education -3. So they're relatively less advanced technologically. Tech level 9, as you can see. But they are spacefaring, and they do have some trade ships, which we see here. And we have encounters with the Delay, a former starfaring race who used slower-than-light vessels to colonize a wide area. Their interstellar civilization flourished around 100,000 years ago, then collapsed, leaving behind colonies on widely scattered worlds. All right. Oh, and they're kind of avian creatures. That's cool. Strength -2, Dex +1, Endurance 1D +2. They have a chaotic society, and they're disorganized. All right. So they need to be led with a strong hand. Then we have the species group Firbolg. It's not spread by the ancients. It was possible they were carried aboard the slower-than-light starships of another race, perhaps as planet-taming workers. If so, no trace of that race have yet been found. The origins of the Firbolg will remain a mystery for now. All right, interesting. And you can be travelers from them as well. Strength -2, N -2, Int D3, Education 0. They have no inherent traits, but may gain traits relevant to their society or environment. All right, now we got some incidents. Sharks among the pigeons. Winds of destruction. So we got stuff like stellar gas ejected from a weak supernova event. Peacemongering. Okay. Not sure what that's all about. Something about interesting diplomacy. Hill Forts of Entrata. This is an adventure which involves the Firbolg. So first contact, and you can develop different relationship statuses with the locals. Early interactions in the Hall of the Hill Fort King. And then you can see they've got a settlement here, which is low tech level here. They've got roundhouses and a gate. So I don't know, maybe sort of medieval level. So you can have a little bit of a adventure on a low tech world there. That's kind of cool. Then we have Disputed Birthright. So these are enclaves of super droid. Interesting. Okay. Duskilks, Casted Evolver. Alright, okay, they have some psionic talents. Passive ability to make people lose track of him. Okay. Feral pseudo-droid. And we have another droid investigation vessel. 4,000 tons in a sphere shape. And then we have some... Oh, deck plan is quite massive. There's a lot of space there. Alright, so... Apparently, there's some interesting things happening aboard that ship. And there's some ruins to investigate. And some aftermath ramifications, revelations in Kenvab, somewhere close to the far side of nowhere. So a group of humans, independent of the local powers, but maintain links to some of them. They're based on a remote borderline habitable world that has grown into a modest-sized city. Okay, so they've got a tech level 11 transport utility vessels. Rumors of a distant free port. Okay, so yeah, these are just random little sort of sub-societies you can meet out there amongst the unknown. Just to mix things up, that's pretty cool. Doing business when you have all the money and all the guns. Okay, something to be careful of. You know, you got a big ship and a lot of guns, so... Including nukes, by the way, as the last book reminded us. We got some more Führer Bolgs here amongst the opposition. Adventure dreaming in real time. So, requires a starfaring civilization within feasible misjump range. Okay. It takes place when the travelers enter any system. They detect a large vessel, which has apparently just emerged from jump space. On closer inspection, this ship turns out to be much larger than Deepnight Revelation, but of lower technology. Its function is not immediately apparent, but it is obvious the ship is in distress. Okay, so this is like a colony ship. It's massive, 150,000 tons. Titanium steel armor, but only tech level 9. Okay, so much less than the 15 of the Deepnight Revelation, and then a segment of the ship, again tech level 9, so I guess it can break up into parts, and then field collapse resistance and jump bounce, so I guess they had some kind of disaster during the jump process. Situation aboard seems bad, people broken up into factions, some are cannibals, that's never good, mass deaths, also not good, and you can explore while trying to deal with the cannibal survivors. That's pretty cool. We have some key characters in opposition. And then we've got typical survivors, faction members, and feral survivors. Then we've got a section on animal encounters. So these can be in the vacuum, within gas giants, you've got Jovian gliders and lightning clouds. Borderline worlds, you can have were-nots, metal leeches. Hell worlds, you can find Theco-spiners and Buscades. They have a psionic screech, ouch. Habitable worlds, you can get the lumber, which is kind of a spiky-looking brontosaurus type thing. And a saber-toothed terror, that's a horrible-looking crocodile with even more claws. Not great. Rock bowl worlds, you can have environmental problems, thin crusts, micrometeorite showers, environmental encounters on borderline worlds, grayouts, material slides, hell worlds, violent outgassing, tectonic and volcanic hazards, super sinkholes and fossil ecosystems on habitable worlds, and then some final notes. Alright, that is cool. So, that is my super mega deal for Traveller, the Deepnight Revelation campaign. All the book expansions, including the extra expeditions, and the beautiful box set itself. So thank you to the Shop at the Borderlands for carrying these awesome deals during Black Friday, and for gratefully accepting my money in return for more Traveller stuff. Look forward to more Traveller content. I do have quite a lot of it, so we'll talk about it at some point. I'm trying to get my hands on some other core books and some other campaign stuff at the moment as well. So as that comes into my possession, I will keep you guys posted and put some more videos up. So I hope you enjoyed that. If you're looking into the Deepnight Revelation campaign, I hope that gave you some idea of what's available for it. Basically, just an enormous amount of content. It does cost a lot to get everything, but I think if you want to do a 20-year mission, you do need a lot of stuff. It kind of makes sense. The way that they've done it is like the box set doesn't really contain everything you need. I think you really would need the help and kind of extra bits of adventure and guidance in these other books to really do it, especially if you're a novice referee. There's just too much openness to the campaign. I mean, Pirates of Drinax works well because there's a lot of guidance and you're mainly in one sector, you know, there's a lot going on. It's freeform, but you know, you can kind of logically determine how things will happen based on the politics of that region. But here you're crossing through polities like crazy. You're going through weird astronomical phenomenon. You know, there's lots of sort of isolated spacefaring species with weird customs and bodies and whatnot. So it's a lot. I think it's a very challenging campaign to run, but I do want to do that. I'll probably do Drinax first, which is still considered pretty challenging to do, but I think I can handle that. Whereas this, I really need to dig into it more. But I'm really excited to have it in my collection, and I hope that those of you who are into Traveller and were thinking about getting a hold of this at some point, get a little bit out of this. If you want more detailed coverage at some point, I can do that. This is just a brief sort of first impressions, like I said, to see what all I got in the super mega deal, which I was really thrilled to get my hands on. So in any case, safe travels out there amongst the stars. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please, hit the like button, tell your friends, hit subscribe, etc. I'm not making any money off the channel and don't plan to, but it's just nice to have people out there, talk RPGs with. And if you want to get involved in Traveller campaign someday, look me up, because I will be doing more and more of them, hopefully, as time goes by. So until then, take care, stay healthy and well, and hope to see you in the comments below and in the next video. All right, take care, and bye-bye.